All right, streaming. We are kind of late. Oh, not really late today, but okay. Regular 3-3 invasion. That's perfectly fine. It's kind of an odd play. It's very, very odd of a play because that actually lets me connect this. And then I'm just going to do that. And that definitely favors me over him. That's also a really odd play. There's actually a reason. I'm just going to do this. You have to take this over here. If you don't, like, that corner is just not very... That's a huge loss for him. That's actually a really, really big loss for him. I don't really see why you made that move in the first place, but since you did, I am going to protect this cut over here. See, like, these kind of moves, they don't really get him any territory is the issue. Like, they really don't get him any territory. Like, they get you a couple corners, but you honestly lose so much over here. And you give me so much influence. You're basically sacrificing for maybe, like, 20 points or less. And I'm just not going to answer that. I am going to do this over here. You just don't get too many points. I mean, the influence the influence that you're sacking the points for is just way too high. And like making random invasions isn't really going to help you all that much against me. I'll let you have the corner. I don't really care about that. I think this basically just kills him. You have to connect the other one. You know what? I don't know if this, I think this ladder works, but it might connect the other one. So I'm just going to extend out. Because there's really not a good way he can answer this. That corner is essentially dead. I don't think this is a good move for me, but I killed the corner, so I don't really care all that much. What do I do with this? I guess I can just do this. I mean, I think like I can still force out here, but it doesn't really matter. I want to build up the territory here. Whatever. That's never a good move. I think I'm gonna have to play a game after this one for all of you watching. Because this game just is too fast, and I think yeah, he can't actually kill this group, so I'm just going to go ahead and make this territory. Just going to go ahead and come... I think I'm going to just repair this territory here. That's not going to survive. You can't just make random invasions, man. Like, you legitimately can't just make random invasions and expect them to actually work. you cannot make like random invasions and actually expect them to work, like at all. I'm just going to do this. Yeah, I don't really know, like, you do have to, like, plan your invasions out. You do actually have to plan your invasions out. You can't just, like, randomly invade me. Okay, I've got to make sure I do this right, because if he does that, then yeah, this is fine. Okay, so here's the thing. Cutting me doesn't actually matter. You don't actually have enough liberties to actually fight me, so cutting me is kind of irrelevant. I don't even have to do that, but I'm going to. That doesn't do anything because you don't have enough liberties to actually fight. So I'm not going to bother with that. I'm going to actually jump out here and capture these 2 stones. Like you have to take you actually have to take what? Whatever. You actually have to take gauge of the situation before you do anything. I mean, just like if you're actually just aimlessly fighting, you're not going to be able to win the game. Like, I understand sort of what he's trying to do, but it's really not going to work. It's really not going to work. I'll just give him that stone. It's not a big deal. I don't have the ladder anymore. Don't have the ladder anymore. But you know what? I'm just going to try to kill this group. I don't know if I can, but I'm going to try to kill this group. I'm pretty sure I can. I mean, he gets that, but if this group is dead, then he doesn't need to do that. So I'm just going to solidify this over here as a note. See, that doesn't do anything because like I feel like, yeah, DDK players I feel like just randomly play, honestly. I don't think DDK players really try to read at all. A lot of them, like, they're kind of just like, this is just kind of like randomly playing, and if you just play, like, you really do need to actually stop and think about what you're doing. And like, can I actually do this? Of course, this ladder works. Oh, this is an obvious ladder, so you're not going to want to play this out. Like, if it's obvious that you're going to die, you don't want to play this out. I don't really know what the purpose of that is, but I'm just going to take this, even though I don't really need to. Like, at this point, you're essentially just adding points to my territory, so I'm not really going to bother with this. Like, every time you are just losing by more and more because I don't have to answer any of this stuff. And essentially, I'm basically just gaining territory. You're just filling in more stones to basically give me more territory. So like, before you make a move, you have to ask yourself, like, do I actually really need to make this move? I mean, this is dead. There's nothing you can do about this. This is dead. Even if you are DDK level, you should be able to read out easy things like this. Instead of just like, really, instead of just like basically throwing everything in the ring. So because like I feel like he is just, I feel like Blackwood is just trying to like invade like randomly after I make this big Moyo and it's not invadable anymore. So you're really not like, you're playing and then thinking. You're like reflexively playing and then thinking. And to really improve, you shouldn't do that. Like, if you really want to improve, you should think, especially like in the DDK ranks. You should definitely think before you play, because like even at DDK level, I feel like a lot of these mistakes could have just been avoided. Because like a lot of the questions on this one is like which one to connect and where to actually connect. I feel like a lot of these mistakes can just definitely be avoided if you just like took a little while to read out like what is my opponent's most likely move, and if he makes that move, do I have anything that would actually help me against that move? I feel like that you just didn't take really that much account into like those kind of questions, which are pretty crucial in Go. Because like, like if you really need to, you just take time out to actually think about things before you actually play them. Then like I feel like if you're at the DDK level, you can easily get out of the DDK level just by like doing a little bit of study of Joseki, just doing a little bit of study of opening game theory, and also just like taking a little bit of time to like read, because some of these are fairly, like there's some concepts like trading that are hard, but there are other concepts that are fairly obvious. There's other concepts that are actually fairly obvious. Like this corner right here. If I connect this ko, that's sente for me. Because there is like actually stuff here that makes this either co-live or just kills this group altogether. Actually, right now I can do this. I can do this and then like just maybe jump in here or something. But like there's stuff to do. This corner isn't clean. This corner is definitely not clean. I think I'm going to try to burn at least like one more game after this. One more teaching game after this. I will review this game. But after that, I might try one more game, like one more quick game. I don't think I lost connection, right? I'm just going to check. No, didn't lose connection. Like at this point, the game has been over for quite a while, but like during the beginning and the mid game, you do actually need to think. You do actually need to think about like what you're playing and why you're playing this way, because you can definitely improve from like a DDK level if you just like ask like I said, if you just ask the question like why like like why am I playing this particular move. And like what's my opponent's most likely going to play, and like can I actually react to that successfully. So try to actually think like 4 or 5 steps ahead, because I think if you try to do that, like you will definitely improve from the DDK level. Because like when I play 8Ks and I play 12Ks, that's like the real difference. Like DDK players make a lot more very, very obvious errors, where like lower SD players, they still make them, but I have to try to generate them. A lot of times they just won't like completely screw up by themselves, whereas DDK players are much, much more likely to do that. And I think it's just like the mental conception of like trying to think a couple of steps ahead, because that will actually improve your play a lot. Like when I play SD players, I generally beat like lower SD players. I generally beat them on like a lot of like shape recognition and like when I can actually take sente. With DDK players, it's a lot about like just massive game losing mistakes. So that's kind of like where the cutoff is. Like the 9-10k level is kind of like where that cutoff is. Like you don't make as many gigantic game changing errors. You don't lose the game like right. You don't really lose the game right as it starts. And you generally, like, I can chip away at you little by little, or we have a fight and my reading is just a little bit better than, quite a bit better than yours actually. But it's not the same way. I don't win the game the same way I do against like DDK players. Guys, please hit the likes and subscribes. And if you actually want to play me in this range, just send a challenge to me, because I'm going to review this game, but like after I get done reviewing, I will accept a challenge from someone, because I do want to play one more game. This game was a little too short, and I think it was a little too messy. It was a little too messy for like one episode, but I will actually. He's just gonna run out of time. But I will actually go back and review it after explaining this corner thing here.
You have won.
So after explaining like this corner thing here, so let me just go back. Let's do that. So let's say he just connects, I connect here, and then he like does something else like this. So there's Aji in this corner. This isn't alive. You Atari first, and then you have a lot of options. you can just kind of like, I think you can just do this, and there's really not much he can do because he can't go here. This is actually just dead if he does this, because if he does this, you can't Atari, he takes it, and then this is dead. So if he does this, like, I think you just do jump here. And there's a lot of trouble. There's actually a lot of trouble here specifically. I mean, he would be dead there too. So this corner group, once all the liberties are tightened, and he has this Atari here, it's actually dead. And that's going to be true for a lot of groups in the corner here. So let's actually go back to the beginning of this game. Feel free to challenge me anytime. I will accept the challenge after I finish reviewing. So this is fine. But here, generally, you would just do this, and then white would do this, you would do this, white would do this, and then like, that's kind of like
Challenge received.
That's generally like the Joseki right there, right? But obviously, like, once you do this, and I do this, like, you're already behind because like my wall's much thicker now, and this end is already improved. And then doing this essentially just makes me even thicker. Plus, you just gave me the Sente. I don't really care if you cut here because I can just go back. So I'm going to take the Sente and like see, like, I'm already up by 6.1 points because of that. So if I do this, you have to answer here or here. Letting me get a block down is not an option, because if you do this, like, essentially, like, you're completely destroying your shape and you're giving me too much. So I double Hane here because I want the end. So like, obviously you play this, I do this, and then I do this. That's how this is supposed to come out. Like, so what he does is he actually does this and then tries to live on the corner. That's very, very bad because that's going to give me this influence. So this particular player makes a really basic mistake in Go. And the very basic mistake that he actually makes is he tries to save all his stones. That's not the point of Go. The point of Go is just to get more territory than the other person. If you try to save all your stones, you're going to lose. Just like if you try to kill all the other players' stones, you're going to lose. You just need more territory. It doesn't matter how many points you win by, as long as you win by one. Also, doesn't matter how many points you lose by, if you lose by 1 point, it's still a loss. So he does this, and that's fine because he actually needs to live that group, but he gives me another Sente, which is here. And he does like that. That's not a very good invasion. I just did this to protect the cut. Like, I understand that if you watch AI play, and AI does play very sporadically, but the AI sequence of plays, the AI doesn't play just sporadically and randomly. The AI has really, really good reason why he plays that way. Like, this is kind of like playing sporadically without any real reason. Because, like, if you do this and I just basically come down this way, I destroy your shape once again. And if you really look at this, I mean, you're just crawling on the bottom and giving me a lot of influence. And then you give me another Sente, which I take over there. And then, that's also kind of a pointless move because I can just do that. See, I'm building my shape while you're not really getting anything. So every move I'm making is much more efficient than every move that he's making. This particular, I mean, yeah, it's a decent invasion. Also, like, you crawl this way. There's a much more room for expansion over here than over here. So you definitely crawl the other way. I'm obviously going to do that. I want this area over here. So I'm basically letting him live over here, by the ways. I'm essentially letting him live, like, pretty much letting him live over here if he wants to. This really doesn't make any sense because this, basically, you're dead. You would probably do this, but then you're still kind of dead. But you do have these two cuts to threaten, I guess. So that's how you would actually play this. So that's why you don't go that way. You definitely go this way. There's way more room to expand over here. So if you do this, there's a good chance you're going to die. He actually does die. This is just kind of bad calculation. I probably shouldn't have played it this way, but this is just the safe way for me to do it, I guess. That's fine, because I'm just trying to get some territory. He's not going to be able to kill this anyways. So he does that. He comes out. I jump out. That's a really bad move because it doesn't envelope me, and you give me like the free curl out on your head, essentially. I'm just going to build up this territory over here. He can't really seal me off anyway. So he does that. I'm going to build up my territory over here even more. So he does that. There is no need to do that. I'm not going to poke there. There's many, many ways. There's no need to do that. This stone's not all that important. So that I probably shouldn't have done that, but I'm just going to solidify my territory over here. And then this doesn't really make any sense. I'm so thick over here that there's no way you're actually going to live invading this particular territory. There's absolutely no way you're going to live by doing this. So like waiting until now to do the invasion is just too late. Like you can't wait until your opponent's like uber thick to actually do this invasion. That really just doesn't work at all. Of course, like I'm just going to kill him. There's no way he's actually going to live in here if I just play decently. So I basically just kill him. And obviously I have more liberties. See, like here he's basically thinking, oh, if I play this, he's not alive. Well, first of all, like I am actually alive if I go down here. But the thing is, like, second of all, like you have to count your liberties on this group and this group. And if you don't have enough liberties, then you're just wasting a stone there because I'm not going to answer, which is why I didn't answer. I do this. He does that. I'm going to Hane and then take that out and do that. Going to connect, and then he does this. That's actually not a bad move. I probably should have just done this, honestly. Like, I have enough liberties here. He doesn't have... I should have definitely done that, but I was just like, you know what? Doesn't really matter. I'm going to go that way and connect, and then when he Hanes, I'm going to retreat one, and then, because at this point, I basically get this territory in here. And then this is actually Sente for white, because black has to do this. So I do that, and I solidify this territory as well. Now he comes actually out here. This is actually good because remember this? Now the ladder doesn't work for me, and he does actually have something there. But I'm just going to kill this. I'm just going to try to kill this, and if he answers this, then I think this ladder does actually work for me. I'm going to try to use the threat from this group to make that ladder work. So he comes out here, which is pretty good. I capture this. And then he does that, which is, in general, it would be okay, but you really want to look at moves like this at this point, because that would break my entire territory over here. The ladder does not work for me, so I would not do this. I would definitely not do this because the ladder simply just does not work for me. And then, that would be very, very bad for me. So I would definitely not do this. So if he played this, I would probably just have to either give up these 4 stones or give up like this territory on the bottom. So that's definitely the play that you want to make here. And basically, like, this is kind of just like nonsense fighting. There's really not much to be explained there. Yeah, one thing about this, like, even at DDK level, you should be able to read simple ladders like this. And if you see this is a simple ladder, don't play this out. You're just wasting more. You're just giving me more points. Yeah, I didn't need to take that, but I just did, just for simplicity's sake. And like this, like you should be able to see that like if you play this, I don't have to answer you because there's no point in playing this. Connecting does not actually make you alive. So any extra moves you spend in here essentially is just going to make me win by more. So that's the review for that one. Simple DDK mistakes. I'm going to accept a 6K game.
Started.
This one should be much better. This one actually should be much, much better. Hopefully, he's not gone, and hopefully he's not gone. See, like, you will see should be a pretty big difference between 12 and 6Q, because 6K players don't make the same mistake, and if I mess up too bad, I could easily drop one of these games. That's an okay move. That's actually pretty... I mean, like, that's actually one of the moves I actually favor. I used to favor that a lot. Okay, that's fine. Go under. And basic here. This is actually one of those times where I'm not really sure where to play. really not sure where to play here. Because I want to invade this, but I have a feeling that this is the best move. It's kind of like wide open and empty. So I'm actually going to go there. So first of all, you can tell the the 6-tone difference between 12 and 6Q, because like they kind of play like the orderly Joseki. They kind of have like a little bit of understanding of much better understanding of like how the opening's supposed to be played. That one is, I mean that's an okay move, but it's not like really big. I think like playing here would be much bigger actually. Huh. Don't know about that one actually. So that's I don't know if this works for me. I really don't. That might have been a bad move actually. That honestly might have been pretty bad. Okay, that's fine. Since he did that, it's okay. Hane is first. Okay, now I'm just going to ignore that. Come in here. I want to play out here as well. Definitely want to play out here as well. That's fine. Do this. I want to, like, he actually has kind of a moyo thing here, so I definitely want to break this here. Yeah, I want to reduce the potential of his moyo. Because I've already gained some territory here with these moves, and he hasn't gained anything from the moyo yet. So I really do want to reduce the potential of the moyo. I don't know if this is the best way to do it, though. I think this is fine. This is okay as well. Okay, it's fair. Probably have to make sure that this is alive. There's a pretty good clamp move here, actually. So, yeah. Okay, he has to connect. Pretty sure that's alive at this point. So I can actually work on not allowing this moyo to become too large. Because I've already got like a lot of advantages with this territory here. And I still have a lot of potential down there. I'm going to fly over here. Just want... My goal is actually just to reduce the number of points he can get here, because he already sacrificed about 15 points here. And I actually have a lot of potential over on that side. That's fine. I don't like, people have been doing that. I don't really like that play myself, but maybe mean, right now it's not good because he gives me the Sente, and I'm just going to use the Sente to break his Moyo over here. Now, you kind of have to do that, but at this point, like, this group is fine. So I'm just going to use the Sente to actually break your Moyo over here. So you spent a lot of stones building this Moyo, and now it's not really going to be worth all that much. It's actually pretty hard for him to attack me. Let me actually look at this. Is this actually viable? Don't know. I feel like I should just do this. I mean, there's all I really have to do. Yeah, there's not a lot you can do on this. There's just not a lot of territory here. Not that I have like any massive territory or anything, but still. I don't think he can actually kill me over here, so I'm just going to do this forcing move. I don't think there's any real chance of him killing me on this. I mean, he should try, he should threaten, but I don't know if it's going to work. Okay, that's fair. I think I'm just going to jump out here. My shape isn't all that grand. I will admit that. It's not all that great. But there's not really a good way for him to deal with me. You can see like I'm limiting his territory here. Like this is only a couple points, especially if I come down or Hane. And he only has this, which isn't that many points, and this is a couple points here, but I already have like this corner and this corner. So at this point, I would say I'm fairly decently ahead. Okay, so that's fine. But the thing is, I don't have to connect. I can make my shape here when I do this. It's fine. I think I'm just going to take like some of these point moves first because I don't think he can actually kill me. There's not that much. Like I'm kind of like threatening his group here as well. Okay, that's fine. Okay, mission accomplished. This is big. This is really big. He could cap me and try to kill me, but I don't think that would work. Come up here or down there? Yeah, I think this would work. There's a couple of big senteis on the board right now that I'm definitely looking at. Okay, he's going to cap that. That's fine. I think I do have to answer this now. But I can make moves like... I can actually make moves like this now. There's not much left over here, so I can make moves like this. It's not my favorite way to play, but whatever. It's fine. Oh, okay. Alrighty. Don't really see the point in that, but okay. Those are good moves. This is really big as well, though. So I'm just going to take a bunch of like senteis now. Take a ton of senteis now. Because each time I do this, I'm like 2 points better than before I did it. You cannot do that. This ko is way too damaging for him. I don't know if I really want. I should have fought this ko, but it is pretty damaging for him. Ooh, that's definitely not good. I think at that point you definitely have to fight the ko. I mean, the ko is really big though, so. But you do have a lot of ko threats with me in the center. I did leave room for. I did actually leave a lot of ko threats out there, so it's. Yeah, so I think you basically have to fight the ko at that point. Do this. I don't think he should answer this. Okay. See, I'm just taking all the Sentei Hanes I can because, you know, it's free points for me. So since it's free points for me, why not, you know? Making sure I get all the advantages that I possibly can here. This is pretty big. It's also pretty big. That's fine. He does leave this out though. Okay. So I do believe that this move is actually fairly large, because he could have had like 4 or 5 points here. Then this one is pretty big as well. Definitely gained a couple of points in the ending game. Not even if not counting this, I definitely made a lot of gains in the end game. Not like a lot of huge fighting in this game. Yeah, you can probably take that stone up there. It's not really that important to me though. There's nothing here. Oh, he does that. Whatever, I'll connect. Okay. I don't think I need to answer this because this is actually a little bigger. Yeah, I don't think I need to answer that. This is definitely a little bigger. Do this. Just gotta watch out here later on. Do this. Don't really see the purpose of that, but we'll see. It's getting me a lot of synthase, which is exactly what I want. I probably should have just Haned here. Never mind. That was a bad move. Definitely should have Haned there. Am I missing something? I mean, yeah, he does get that, but... Tori? just going to do this just in case. This feels a little better. Bloodless games like this are kind of fun to review as well, actually. Yeah, it's fine. Don't think there's any problem if I do this. Ah, there's this. I forgot about this. There's nothing here, by the way. I can just Hane. I probably will have to fix this later. This is actually bigger. That's not that big now. I think this is okay. It's actually pretty big. That makes it so I don't really have to fix this. I think there's nothing left. So I'm just going to pass.
Pass. Remove the dead stones. You have won.
All right, this actually was a much better game to go back and review. So let's actually go back and review this game. So we have the original start. That's fine. I mean, like, yeah, minus 0.2, but it doesn't really matter. This is like a setup I actually use all the time myself. I'm going to take point. Generally, like, you want to do this. Like, generally, I guess the most optimal move is to do this because it actually expands your moyo a little bit over here. But I've never really liked doing that for some odd reason. I've always just done that. Then he basically does this Joseki over here. And I like which corner you take or which corner invade is kind of is not all that important, but I do this. And the best move obviously is here or here. This is an okay move. This is an okay move, but it's a little too it's a little smaller than just solidifying. It is a little smaller than just solidifying the corners. This group isn't really under threat, so there's no actual need to do this just yet. It's not too bad, though. So he does this. And, of course, I'm going to invade right now. I think the best move here is to actually just do this. I can't actually... I really can't... I really can't, like, expand over here. There's, like, no nice little... three space leap for me over here, so this is better for black. I think he should have just done that. The other option, if he does this, is I can go this way, but then he gets all this territory down here, so I'm not too crazy about that. But in this particular case, I might actually just be tempted to do that, actually. But anyways, he does that, which is not the best move, because it does free up this for me, and this does get me kind of settled. Now, that move usually would actually be pretty good, and I think it is the right move to make, but it does let me pretty much settle completely. Yeah, you definitely want to do this right now. You do not want to connect, because, I mean, yes, because, like, if you connect anyways, I'm going to do here, and I'm going to be settled anyways, and this stone right now is not that big, so connect here, I do this, and that settles me anyways, and then he jumps up, and that's like kind of Sente for me, right? And of course, I'm going to take this move. This is easily the biggest move right now. He does that. And of course, I make the slight judgment error here. I play here instead of up here. I should have played up one. And the reason I should have played up one is because if I play this, he still has like movements like this later on. Whereas if I actually play this, it's like one up. So it's better at like destroying his Moyo. It's much better at destroying his Moyo. So I should have played up one. I made a mistake there, slight mistake there. Played down one. He does that. Obviously, I just want the territory. And yes, I keep forgetting this is a better move. The shape is just better and it's a little faster. Going up here lets him Hane, which isn't a great move right now. But you know, like I get the double Hane. He connects. I do that. Yeah. So the knights. So like I said, the knights move doesn't let him Hane or anything. It is better than just curling up. Definitely. I keep forgetting that. I need to remember those things. I do this. He does this. So I should have just done this, I guess, but I wanted a little bit, because like if I do this and he connects, it's more solid for him. But I do actually want the Sente. I do really, really want the Sente, so that's why I did that. And he could also like attach here instead of do this, because I have the clamp here, but it might not actually be that big. So he gives me the Sente again, and by this time I'm up by 14 points already. So I should have done this, but like me personally, I want to break his Moyo a little bit, so I jump up to break his Moyo. Yeah, this is always something that you can actually do. It's not really helpful right now, but it's something you can actually do later. My shape here is just not that good once you do this. So that's why the computer is telling you to play over there. So he does this. I'm going to jump up. Yeah, so once you do this, like these threats here become a lot more serious because I'm a little bit more cramped in here. So he does, I come up, he does that, which I'm more than happy to actually trade that right now to get like to get like another Sente. I should have done this first to threaten this down here, but I jumped over here instead. Like that is a good move because it's essentially Sente. That's why it's a good move. If it wasn't Sente, it wouldn't be a good move. But I essentially just jump over here to break his Moyo. And this move isn't very good. This is a very bad shape for black. And it allows me to... And this essentially allows me to make it out here. And like there's this move over here, but he doesn't see that yet. And also like this isn't shut down yet. This really isn't shut down yet. So this move becomes very, very big later on. And I eventually do that. So like when I do that, he should instantly do this. But he does this. And I should have actually just extended out, ignored that extended out. But I do this. And yeah, this is definitely like the best move here. First of all, it's worth a lot of points. But outside of that, it gives me a lot of trouble in this area as well. So this follow-up actually loses a lot of points. I jump here to formulate my shape. I mean, like the computer's telling you to do this, but I think like I'm not really sure what I would do here. I would probably just play here or something, because like that's actually a really big move. That's actually a really big move, first of all, and there's not much I can do here. There's not much territory in here for you to protect, anyways. So that move is going to be a lot bigger. So that. I'm going to take this time to actually just do this move because he didn't do it, so I'm going to do this. And this puts a little bit of pressure on this group, but it also is just really big in terms of like territory-wise. So he does this. I'm going to jump out. Yeah, you should do this, but I'm just a little queasy about like attaching at that point. So I'm going to jump out. He's going to do that. And this would actually work as well, but you know, like this, I don't like this cut. Because if I do this, he can do this. I mean, this isn't a big deal because these two stones aren't worth very much. But I do actually want to protect those stones, so I just go ahead and make this. Now, the computer is saying that this is a better move, and it probably is. So I do that. He does that. And then at this point, I just basically start taking like Sente moves. That, like, he should just come down here and attack. But most of the time, like even like with players my strength, they're essentially going to always block that, and I get that little bit of an advantage right there. So I'm going to do that. I know I threaten this group. Like, this is still the attacking move to go. You can't kill me right here. You can't really kill me right here, but it does put this under a lot more stress, and it might actually give you Aji down there. So technically, like here, I definitely need to do this first. But coming up here, he's going to defend that, which essentially gives me time to see. Like, I'm basically playing like too many. He's answering too many of my forcing moves. There's not much to be afraid of down here because I'm not going to be able to threaten anything. So he defends that. So I've gotten 3 forcing moves that are actually worth quite a bit of territory to me. And then I get like this move as well. And I've just gotten like 3 really, really big forcing moves. And then doing this doesn't really make any sense right now because you can't really cut me. And after you do this, since I'm actually tough up here, like this move isn't as threatening anymore. So he does that. At this point, like usually I say bumping is really, I usually say bumping is like really damaging, and it is, but in this case, it's not. It's not really all that damaging, you know, and the reason why is because there's just not any territory for you for this. Like, he builds influence on the outside, but there's no territory for him to gain with this influence. So that's why I just go ahead and do this right now. Just to get the eye shape in there, he can't kill me anymore. And like, this influence is useless because he can't do anything with the influence. That's a bad move. That just kind of solidifies me a little bit more, and I don't really see the purpose of that trade. It gives me a couple points and doesn't really do him anything. So I'm going to do this first. So like here, like you should just kind of like do stuff like this. Probably do stuff like this. And just like basically take the Senteis and definitely then do this. The game would be actually a lot closer if he actually did that. You want to take these 2 Senteis first because you know I'm probably just going to respond. And you're like 1 or 2 points better off than if I didn't. Than if you didn't do it before. So that's why you do those first. I learned that from playing a lot of games against the AI. So he does that, and then he does that, this is actually a very big move, but not nearly as big as this. So I get this, it's Sentei, and then like you see, I basically just start taking all the Sentei moves. I definitely begin taking all the Sentei moves, and I'm pretty sure he's actually going to respond. You can't actually do that. You have to withdraw here. I think that's just a miscalculation. But at this point, I would say you have to fight the Ko. I think you would have to fight the Ko. Remember, you have a lot of Ko threats in here that I have to answer. So I don't really know if White could actually win the Ko. But, you know, this is an easy play for White because it's not that heavy on White. White doesn't really lose all that much on this Ko, and Black loses a lot. So I can understand why he went ahead and did this, but you definitely have to fight the Ko in this situation, especially since you're losing by a lot already. Then he does this. I'm going to do that first, and then curl up. Do this. Yeah, this you don't really answer. This just isn't worth very much. Like, okay, so you answer here, but if you ask yourself, why do I answer there? What can White possibly do if I don't answer? Well, White can Atari here, but that's like 1 point, and then he can capture this stone, but that's also like 2 or 3 points. And you should just play all the Hane Senteis first. And there's much, much bigger moves. Like this one's bigger probably, and like you can play a lot of Hane Senteis. So doing this is kind of pointless right now. So that's not something that you would do at this point. So I get the Senteis now. And that just stretches the game out even further. Okay, the forcing moves are fine. I'm definitely going to answer that. Also, like, this move isn't really all that important because if you play this move, you get like 1 or 2 points here. If I Atari here, I destroy 1 or 2 points there. So not really that important. He does that, so that's going to lose a couple more points. I'm going to do this. That's actually fairly big. That's like 4 or 5 points, I believe. And he does this. I'm going to Atari. And now it's my Sentei again. I'm going to come down here because this is a couple of points here, and this is pretty much Sentei for him. So he does that. I should have blocked up because, yeah, this essentially cuts off this stone. So he would actually be able to get like a lot more here. So I'm gonna do this. He does that. I block. Yeah, this essentially. Actually, he doesn't cut off that stone, but it makes my shape a lot worse, and I would have to repair here later on. So yeah, the sequence, he just didn't go there, I guess. He just didn't play that. I should have, I guess, done this, because this group is a little bit weak down there, I guess. I'm not really, I don't really know why this is big. Probably like because of some possible points here. So I'm going to connect, which is a bad move for me. He does that, but this is a bad move because it's gote. You don't really gain anything. So I'm going to retreat this back. And there's a couple of points I can actually get here after that. He does that. There's no need to answer this right now, but it's not a bad move either. I'm going to push, then I'm going to push again, and then I'm going to do this. I don't agree with the AI here. I would definitely just connect. I'm going to jump up and get a couple points here, and plus break any possibility of his points here. So I'm winning the late game by quite a bit as well, because I'm making him basically answer all my pushes. I shouldn't have done that. This is much bigger here. But I mean, like, I'm making him answer like all my pushes, but that's a wrong move because I'm just going to kill you there. I mean, it's either this or this. Because like, just giving me like more points, that doesn't really make any sense. Yes, you do get points here, but you also sacrificed a couple of points in here for me. So it's not a net gain for him. Okay, that's Sente. What did he do? Oh, that. Yeah, that's gote. I mean, yeah, it is worth a couple points, but it is gote. I'm going to do this. He's going to have to connect. Then I'm going to do... I mean, this is bigger because I still have to connect down here if he does that. But this, I just clean up a little bit of things. I just wanted to clean up a little bit, so I just did that. He does this. I do that. This is going to be a couple more points. Basically, like just my sequencing. This is actually pretty big now, because like it destroys his point, and it's like 1 or 2 points for me. Do that. I connect. I go. He connects here. This is 1 point. No need to do that. I take it. He does that, but I'm not going to connect this because this is like half a point now. So I connect this, which is a little bit bigger. And then the rest of this is just end game. So this game actually, like, yes, there was a miscalculation down here, but even without the miscalculation, he was still lost by like 40 points. So I won about 10 points in the end game, but most of this game was basically won or lost on just like playing more efficient moves. I played a lot more efficiently than he did. I took more Sentes than he did. And that's actually how I won this game. And it might not seem like much, but like all the moves added together, there was like a 40-point difference. Could I play better? Probably. But the thing is, like, you know, it just goes to show you that like just recognizing like which corner points are bigger, like which Joseki moves are better, and like the general direction of the game will actually make you like a much better player overall. And like, you know, this is pretty much like typical SDK. Like you may not make a lot of those like game breaking mistakes, but being chipped away like 5-10 points at a time, you will end up with a pretty big disadvantage. So that's going to be the review for today. Like and subscribe, hit that bell notifications button. And yeah, I will be back late. We'll be back probably tomorrow or the next day with another stream.